Good morning. It is 9:20 a.m. on Monday, February 20th, 2017. I'm Christiana Ellis and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. So it's a holiday. So I've got off work. That's nice. 3-day weekend. Woo. Got something on my teeth, I think. Anyway, so I feel like I have too many different things to talk about today. Just in terms of media consumed. So maybe I'll just kind of start talking about one and talk about it until I'm ready to talk about the next one, and we'll see how far I get. Got something in my teeth. It's gross. All right. So what did I do? Let's see. I watched a movie called The Lobster, which is a very strange movie. Sorry. Yikes. It's a very strange movie. I watched it partly because I had already been interested, but partly because it is nominated for Best Original Screenplay. And so it takes a premise that. So the whole thing is kind of surrealist, absurdist metaphors for the pressures people have to be in relationships and to stay in relationships and to not have relationships and so on. The idea is that single people are forced to go and live in this hotel and try to find someone to be in a couple with, and if they fail after their predetermined amount of time, then they are turned into an animal. And the main character, played by Colin Farrell, has chosen that he would want to be a lobster if he doesn't find someone to fall in love with. It's a very strange movie. It's very deadpan and quiet and strange. And it has some pretty upsetting things happen in it. I just feel like I want to say that up front in case anyone's going to decide to watch it because I recommended it. Be just forewarned that there's some. I'm not going to like spoil things exactly, but there's some upsetting imagery in there in a couple places. So just be on your guard if you choose to watch it. I think it's also maybe a little bit too long. There were lots of places where I was kind of checking my watch, so to speak. But it's a really interesting idea and executed in an interesting way. And so I think it's kind of a fascinating film experiment. I won't call it 100% successful, but it is definitely interesting. So what else? Let's see. I finished watching the Santa Clarita Diet, which is a Netflix show with Timothy Olyphant and Drew Barrymore about a housewife who becomes a zombie, kinda. It's interesting because I feel like I was much more positive on it up until the season ended, and it just no spoilers, but it ends on a very inconclusive note, and that was frustrating for me. I didn't really like. It's one thing to say have a season finale have open threads because because you don't know if there's going to be a season two, and maybe they were just so sure they're going to have a season two for this one that they felt more comfortable. But I didn't really feel like there was any kind of a concluding arc at all. There was no sense of conclusion to the season finale. It's really just left me kind of feeling, what, that's it? That there's not more? I mean, I would watch another episode right now if there was one, but there isn't. And so now I'm kind of left just feeling like they stopped in the middle, and that's frustrating. That said, the show took a couple of episodes to get going for me. But once it got going, there is a lot of really funny stuff in there. Now, I've been a fan of Timothy Olyphant for a long time. I loved him all the way back in the movie Go, where he plays a scary but snarky drug dealer type. And then, of course, he was in Deadwood, and then he was in Justified, and he's really cool. He's a great actor. I like him a lot. But certainly he's built his reputation more on being the tough guy who's kind of maybe a little sarcastic, but very, you know, he's always the the tough guy in the room who's going to give you the solid one-liner and wants to get in a fight. And seeing him as this kind of wimpy suburban house dad, where he's kind of goofy and mostly just wants to smoke pot all the time, and is kind of having a hard time dealing with the fact that his wife now wants to kill and eat people. And I don't know, I thought that was a surprising turn for him. Drew Barrymore is also good, but I feel like this role, other than sort of the zombie piece of it, is not outside what I've seen from her before, and so she's fine in it, but it wasn't surprising in the same way that that Timothy Olyphant was. And so the rest of the kid, the neighbor kid next door, and the daughter of the family are both good too. I don't have the actors' names at hand, but I enjoyed them. So I like the show. I think it's good, but it ends on an incomplete note for me, and that's a little frustrating. So I guess maybe that'll cover it for today. I think I'll probably talk tomorrow a little bit more about. I just finished listening to the audiobook for Leviathan Wakes, which is book 1 of the Expanse series, and I'm caught up now on the Expanse TV show. So I think I'll talk a little bit tomorrow about my enjoyment of adaptations and comparing the ways that stories are told in different mediums. Anyway, I will talk to you guys tomorrow for 5 more minutes.